Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Talk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Mr. Sabir Abhyankar with us. Samir enrolled with the Bar Council of Delhi in 2008 and has since worked in prestigious chambers in the Supreme Court of India to gain a vast experience in commercial litigation before the Supreme Court and before courts and tribunals in New Delhi. Commercial dispute resolution being his strength, he also represents the firm in arbitration for the firm's clients, and Sameer is an advocate on record of the Supreme Court of India and, as such, has represented a wide spectrum of the firm's clients before the Supreme Court on diverse issues arising out of the insolvency, bankruptcy code, company law, protection, uh, consumer protection law, mining and environmental law, contractual disputes, services law, and so on. And Mr. Sameer he has also advises and represents the firm clients before various tribunal headquarters in New Delhi, particularly NCLAT. He has a flair of legal writing and regularly writes articles on various issues of commercial laws. So, firstly, let's talk to him straight and get some more. Hello, Mr. Sameer. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me over.
No, pleasure is all ours. So, firstly, Mr. Sameer, please tell us about your journey in the profession so far and about the journey of your firm, which is Innovators Law.
I joined the bar 13 years ago in Delhi itself in 2008, and I started my practice with a law firm which basically had matters across all courts and tribunals in Delhi with a focus on the Supreme Court. But as every youngster should, I really made my bones, so to speak, in the trial courts, which experience helps you later on in life. My area of practice has always been civil commercial law, and I really enjoyed my work there. And that is how I shaped my career there. I then joined a senior counsel of the Supreme Court itself. I should say, from whom I learned most of my practice, whatever little I know. After I started my independent practice, I met with my partner Amish Tandon, who was also a corporate commercial lawyer, and we shared a passion for the law, and we also shared a passion to create something, to build something which would last much longer than either of us. That is the idea behind Innovators Law, which we set up. And that's how we started about 4 years ago. We are a young firm. We are only 4 years old, but I'm proud to say that we started with three lawyers initially, and now we're up to 13 lawyers. And this, I mean, I would say I'm proud to say this because this during a time when firms our size haven't really survived the pandemic, given the times that we live in. So yes, it's been a good journey. And but having said that, I we have a good client list also as of now across sectors in India and abroad. uh, I don't want to, however, say that say things like it's been a good journey, etc., and size things up right now because we have higher aims and we want to expand more and more. And that I think is the outlook that someone with 13 years in practice should have, or a 4-year-old firm should have. But it's been a good journey. I hope to make it better. We hope to make it better.
Yeah, it would be better, surely. So, Mr. Sami, tell us about a complex legal issue you worked on. Describe the complexity and tell us how you approached it.
Uh, there have been many complex and simple issues. I'll just make things easier for myself by picking up a live issue that we are currently dealing with. Most complex issues, as most lawyers will tell you, arise from the fact that there are some gaps in the law enacted by the legislature. And those gaps lawyers get to exploit, and we do our best to exploit those gaps and make out a case for our clients. One such issue arises under the IBC. Now, the IBC is a fairly recent legislation, and it's still, although it's been 5 years, it's still, provisions of that act are being tried and tested, and new things are being thrown up in courts every day. Now, what happens here is that we are representing a company which has purchased a huge chunk of property, which is basically a hotel in a larger area of a real estate project. And that real estate project has gone into insolvency now under the provisions of the IBC. Now, while I say we have purchased the property, we haven't really perfected our title in a manner, strictly in a manner known to law. The piquant situation that comes here is that we are in a position where we have invested crores of rupees. We have not perfected our title. The company which actually sold the property to us without transferring the title to us has gone into insolvency, and the provisions of the code are completely silent on it. Since this is a live issue, every day we grapple with various provisions of law to come out of this issue. There are actually three or four. What makes it very interesting is there are actually three or four enactments that intersect with the IBC, and to examine various issues and which arise under those enactments and to try to arrive at a solution at every date of hearing, to devise a strategy, is what makes this complex issue interesting. It's very it's very taxing. Obviously, it's a nascent area of law, nascent provisions, everything. But I guess it's issues like these that keep you on your toes as a lawyer. If everything was simple, life would be fun. So yes, our approach to it is to devising strategies that suit our clients' interests best and which fit into the legal framework that is available to us, because we can't change the law. So that's that.
All right, I completely understand. So, as you all know, the time is money in any profession, and in legal, it's most of all. How do you ensure to make the best use of your time as a lawyer?
Um, so my senior used to tell me that you never really stop being a lawyer. Once you've become a lawyer, you never really stop being stop being a lawyer. So in that sense, he used to say it's not just a profession; it's a way of life. So if you are a lawyer 24/7, and if your endeavor is to make the most of your time, then it automatically translates into money, is what he used to say. According to me, now in the phase of my profession that I am in, I would say that this question acquires a certain different dimension. How do I make the most of my time as a lawyer, as an individual lawyer, is quite different from how I make the most of my time as a partner in a law firm, the a firm that I have founded myself. So, just I would say that anyone who says that it is in anyone who's a partner, who's heading a business, who says that it is entirely up to me to make the most of my time and profit the most out of it, is, I would say, incorrect in saying so. According to me, I can make the most of my time if I am backed by a team that is simultaneously making the most of its time. So, for example, if I am doing something professionally which I think is profitable, while I had a team which is not doing anything, productive and profitable, then effectively, as the owner of the business, I have not made the most of my time. So the idea is to ensure that everyone on your team is doing what they can in the best possible fashion to make the most of their time and make it profitable for everyone, and not just profitable in terms of money, in terms of your professional goals also. Ours is a profession where you need to be constantly on your toes. You need to keep abreast of the latest developments in the law. You need to, there can be any occasion when you're asked to advise with very short notice to look up the law. So what you need to be able to do is that there is no concept of free time, and you're always reading and learning and making the most of it, whether you're in the car, whether you're waiting for your matter in court, whether you're waiting for a meeting. Whatever you do, your learning must not stop. And that's how you can even try to keep ahead of the curve, is all I'll say.
Exactly, because as a lawyer, you need to learn and grow each and every day.
That's right. That's right. You lose out otherwise.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of the profession.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
so
beauty.
now let's come to the pandemic. So the pandemic saw some courts begin moving towards more remote proceedings and availability. Is this even sustainable and a possible way to increase access to justice, in your opinion?
During the pandemic, I would say most of the courts, fortunately, in India moved to a remote model. And so I would say it's a very it's quite an efficient system. It's a very good system. It made life easier for a lot of people, judges, lawyers, the general traffic in on the streets. Everything became much better because lawyers were restricted to their office and were staring at computers instead of traveling to courts. But yes, despite its advantages, I understand the flip side of this debate, that India infrastructurally is not up to the mark so as to be able to make the most of remote hearings or remote access to justice, etc. According to me, it is a sustainable model because of its advantages, but it requires a little more work. Now we are today courts. In fact, today is the first day where the Delhi courts have decided to go 100% physical. So virtual is an exception. Uh, if there can be struck a balance between virtual and physical hearings, and both can be done, then I think this is definitely a sustainable model. If you look at it this way, there are, so to give you an example, we have a client who requires us to manage litigation across India, right? So, but they have engaged us, who we are sitting in Delhi. For that particular client, to every time before the pandemic, when virtual did not become the norm, what we had to do is, in every city that there was a litigation or an issue, we had to engage a separate team of lawyers, which increased the cost. Now with the pandemic, it is very easy with the, well, with the virtual hearings, it's very easy for us to sit at our office and conduct and manage a litigation which is going on across any city in the country. So it's cost effective, it's good for the lawyers, it's good for the clients. Sometimes clients want to be involved in the hearings, in the sense that they don't want to be in court every day physically, but they want to know what is happening to their matter. And if we are able to share, whatever links are shared with us by the courts, and they are able to view the proceedings, it adds to the comfort level of clients. So that helps, yes. So it is a sustainable model with more work required, is all, is in something in conclusion, I'd say.
Exactly, exactly. I completely understand. What would you rate as the biggest change that the pandemic has brought about in your professional life?
The biggest change in my professional life, drawing on what I said in response to the last question, is that I think it has become more efficient and easier. This is because you get to spend more time, you don't spend, you don't waste your time in traveling. That's what I was saying was, sometimes you sit and wonder, why these virtual meeting concepts you did not think of before 2020, because this makes life so much easier. Obviously, we are now discussing only the positives of the pandemic. Professionally, the pandemic has also had a negative effect, in that all of us in the office were quarantined for 15 days because all of us suffered from COVID. But yes, we are looking at the positives right now. Yes, professionally, it has made life more efficient. Personally, because of the lockdown and in the initial part of 2020 not being able to do anything, I was able to spend more time at home with my 1-year-old son, whom I could not give any time to at all. So lots of changes. The professional changes I would rate the highest: more time at work, easier meetings, you can connect with people sitting across seven seas without any issue, without having to travel, etc. And efficiency has definitely increased. You have picked up, I'm not a person who was very good with technology. I'm still not a person who's very good with technology, but you learn to somehow make use of technologies that are now available to, increase the efficiency of your work. So professional positives, I'd say, from the pandemic, definitely.
Right. So, thank you so much, Mr. Sameer, for sharing such great insights with us. We look
Thank you.
forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics. So, for our viewers, if you like this chat with Mr. Sabir Abhyankar, please like and share this video as much as you can, and also subscribe to ClickAway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from the legal space. So, this is Nikhil for Lex Talk World signing off.